Welcome, Michael.
Hey, girlfriend, what's up?
I thought it would be fun if we discussed the topic of your last Zoom, the shadow and shadow work, the
Yeah.
stuff that Carl Jung talks about, and how that relates to what we talk about in non-duality.
Yeah, I think it's a great topic. Um, Especially since you and I both thought we weren't doing spiritual bypassing. Oh, that's for others.
Yeah, yeah, it's very sneaky, and it's simply when you take a spiritual concept like everything is one or there's no one here. Um, Nothing's happening, and you sort of use it as a weapon against how you feel and intense emotions that aren't preferred that can come up.
Yeah, you go into this like bubble of, well, there's no one here, so my, anger and pain isn't happening to anyone. And the reality is you're not happy. You know,
Right.
we just can't say that. It's so funny how we resist just saying what is. I'm pissed right now, as if there's something wrong with that.
Yeah. And when we're like little toddlers, when we get hurt or we're disappointed, we cry. And we're taught, you don't act that way, be strong, you're being selfish, and we're sort of naturally shamed. Um, of course, it's not intentional, and um, we can understand why because we're being taught how to conform to society and um, act properly, in public and stuff like that. But we can internalize it, and there can be shame, like, oh, I shouldn't feel this way.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Especially if you're a boy, because then you heard, stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about. I don't know,
yeah,
maybe girls got that too. But it was like, as a boy, the clear signal was you do not show your emotions too much.
yeah, yeah. We both get it, but I think boys get a little bit more as far as you have to be masculine, you have to be strong. Yeah.
Yeah, it's at my meeting last night, I was talking about that it's really awakening or whatever you want to call it is I think a better word is authenticity.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. I remember when that insight started to dawn, it was like, oh, this isn't about me being a certain way or a way to be. Um, it's sort of like an ability to just acknowledge what's arising.
Hmm. Yeah, very openly and authentically and you know, it's funny how that judgment keeps us like, oh, I can't say this. I can't say how I really feel.
Yeah. Yeah. And even if you don't want to share with other people, the ability to just acknowledge what's arising for you
Hmm.
is very powerful.
Well
Um,
said. Yeah, that I want to just underline that
mhm.
because really that's kind of the secret. What I realized was you can say anything. Like I feel like I can say anything as long as it's clear that it's just my experience. I'm not expecting you to have it. I'm not saying you should. I'm not saying it's right and like that. It's just you're just being authentic. And it's funny when other people are authentic,
Mm.
it makes us want to be authentic.
Yeah, when we sense authenticity, which is just a relative term, um, in others as a characteristic, we're drawn to that. There's something very, it's disarming. It sort of gives
Hmm.
us permission to, oh, okay, I can feel that way too. I can be vulnerable. And there's something very attractive about it.
Well, I'm gonna, spill the beans here because as I've told you in our conversations, I thought I was being open and authentic until I came across your videos when you were just posting in the beginning, just scared, looking like a scared rabbit.
A deer in headlights. Yeah.
Yeah, but there you were. Even with I could just see, I go, your whole body was screaming, I don't want to be on camera, but you were bound and determined. And you were so authentic that I was like, oh, geez. All right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happens. We think we're being authentic until we run across someone else, and you're like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah, so that's beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, we're like a mirror to each other in that way. The world is like our mirror. Um, we can notice that pattern more and more. And I think authenticity is a spectrum. It's not like you're authentic or you're not authentic. It's this, wide spectrum that continues to progress, it seems, as we mature.
yeah, ever deepening.
Hmm.
I want to just put that out there. This is ever, there's no finish line. There's no, oh, I've arrived.
Hmm. Yeah, and we talk about the inside of no self as if it's the end all be all and the ultimate goal. And then if I could just accomplish that somehow or see that, everything will just fall into place.
Yeah. Well, what have you and I been saying to each other lately? My God, awakening's just the beginning.
It is. It really is. It really is. It's sort of like it felt like the beginning of vulnerability in a way, like true vulnerability. Because if you can recognize that this says nothing about you, whatever's arising, thoughts, emotions, you sort of have the opportunity to look at it, like really see it for what it is, acknowledge it, and not suppress or deny. And it can be uncomfortable.
Hmm. Yeah, because it's unknown. Anytime it's unknown, it's going to be uncomfortable. Like, again, another topic at the meeting last night was, what's your relationship with silence? Like because I realize most of us don't like silence, you know?
Yeah,
You can feel that. Like there's a temptation to fill the space with music, TV, YouTube. I do it too. And it's just n noticing that. And that's kind of what you and I, that's our big, if there's one practice, there,
noticing.
I said it. Yeah. It's noticing. It's not seeking. I want to make that distinction. Like seeking means it's not here. I got to go get it. So
Mhm.
no, seeking, you'll seek forever. You can seek till the body takes its last breath. It's already the case.
Yeah,
So if it's already, then okay, what am I not seeing?
right. What can I learn from this? Like this, whatever seems to be arising, the nature of this. Something is here that perhaps I haven't recognized, and like a fish searching for water, you just become still and present and allow the mirror, so to say, to show you.
Yeah, Jenny and I were talking about this, and uh, she was saying that the reason we don't see it is because it's too intimate.
Yeah, yeah, it's too intimate. That's the thing we think we're apart from it so we can
Mm.
observe it, learn from it, in the conventional sense.
And get it. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's so funny. Look at the built-in separation. You
Hmm.
know, it's out there, I'm here, and I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, it's an assumption, a base assumption, subject object. And it's not like the bad guy or anything. It'll always be there as a sense. It's not like we're trying to get rid of it or anything.
Right.
But when you see it in a more sober way, the wholeness can be intuited, it can be sort of integrated into subject object, and there can be a marriage of the two,
Yeah.
and it can be more like flow. And anything at all can arise
Hmm.
in that,
Yeah.
preferred or not. I mean, conditioning doesn't magically evaporate when you recognize what's always been.
Yeah, freedom doesn't mean the end of emotions. It means that all emotions are free to arise.
Hmm.
You know, that's true freedom. That every emotion, every feeling, it's all free. And if it doesn't feel like it's free, that's an opportunity to notice, oh, this feels like an exception. Let me feel into it. And the question is, we tend to go to mind and say, well, what we get into conversation about it rather than, and you and I have both said this, what is it? What is it made of? Oh, this thought, this feeling's really bugging me. Okay, what is it?
Yeah. What is it made out of? It's a different way of being with this that's more intimate. Um, a meta sort of view. Like not sort of stepping outside the stories a little bit, taking the backward step. I mean, we try all these ways of describing it. Um, but something about being very present and sensitively with all your senses noticing the nature of this, not the content, what it's the stories that it's saying, but it can just dawn the recognition of um, the wordless, awareness.
Mhm. Yeah, ever present.
And we also are waiting for that to be sustained too. Like we have all these ideas about what it'll be like, but that's just a
So
state.
funny.
It's
Well,
just a
it'll
state.
be like this. That's the funny part. It's like we miss the movie screen because we're so focused on the damn movie. So right now, the movie is this conversation. This is what's playing at the theater near you, or the theater on you. So this is our movie. It's a shared dream. Doesn't belong to anybody. But when like we click off, when this Zoom ends, there'll still be the silence. The unchanging will still be here. The screen, if you
Mhm.
will always be here because the screen don't go anywhere or you wouldn't be able to see anything. You can't just like project a movie without a screen. What are you going to see?
Right.
So this screen, and again, this is just an analogy. It's a metaphor. It's not a real screen, but this never leaves. This is ever present. It's infinite. And you are that. That's what it turns out
Mm.
Nisargadatta was talking about when he said, I am that. I am the eternal. I am the unchanging. And that can be noticed.
Yeah, because it's whole. It's all there is. So of course that, that's you could say the true identity. And
Yeah.
it's so this, I guess you could say, that it doesn't even need to understand that it is that. Like it can't not be that. Like even
Yeah.
if you're an alcoholic, homeless, miserable, that's the content.
Yeah.
But it can't not be um, this reality existence, beingness.
Yeah. Understanding works perfectly for everything else, right? You want to, put together a tool shed in the backyard. You have to understand how to build it. So it has its place. Everything has its place. But when it comes to you, you don't have a place because you're everywhere and nowhere.
Hmm. Yeah, can't get outside of it.
You're already the case. You're already the screen, nothing to do. So when that dawns, there can be a relaxation of like, oh, this is what's playing in the movie right now, and you're not doing it. You're a character in the movie. So the analogy is like when you're watching a movie, you can get caught up in the movie and forget that you're sitting in the theater. Nothing wrong with that. But it's when you forget that you're actually not in the movie.
Mhm.
Because what are you in the movie as?
Yeah, and it's okay to forget. That's why we go to the movie. You know, you're
Yeah.
not in the movie because you feel like you're in the movie. You're
Yeah.
still in the seat, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, but that's when you know you said you're going to a movie. You know it's a movie. That's a big difference than
Mhm.
it's real. It's real. My God. I saw a movie, Santa Claus. He's walking around. Dude's alive. I saw it. It's like we believe the images and we forget ourselves and we get lost in the images like a dream at night, right? A dream can feel so real.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can innocently, I mean, it's sort of the human condition. We believe that we know what's happening, what's going on. We think that we understand this, and when we assume that we know, we cut off an opportunity to see it more clearly for what it really is. Um, but we don't want to relax that mechanism of understanding because it's very comforting.
Hmm.
And that's why when there's silence and really deep noticing as a I guess you could say as a practice, instead of just reading, contemplating, watching YouTube videos, when you begin to sensitively notice, the fear barrier can pop up, like Angelo says, and you can start to feel really uncomfortable when that starts to break down that understanding and you start to see through it. And it sort of feels like the ground is coming out from under you. So I would say that goes back to the shadow.
Hmm. Yeah, that's another reason for my Wednesday night meeting because it's a space. That's all I do is provide a space. That's it. That's the beginning and end. And the space allows everything to be shared freely.
Mhm.
And it just turns out that's kind of rare that you could go to a meeting. There's no, yeah, I'm the host and I'll do a little talk at the beginning, but it's open mic. Everybody's welcome to share because there is no right way.
Yeah.
Everyone's unique. Everybody's going to have their own path. So it's so wonderful to have a free space that, well, this is what I'm doing. Oh, this is what I'm doing. Oh, look at
Hmm.
that. It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's all, no matter what's coming up, it's valid. It's of course it's this. How could it not be? And I love your meetings.
Oh.
Yeah, it's unique. It's validating. It's a safe place. So,
Well, everybody wants to talk, but nobody wants to listen.
yeah, you're not going to hear, well, who is there to say that?
No, no. That's the thing. When there's no right way, you can't say that anymore, because you can't know anything. Like everything you say is bullshit. Everything I say is just story.
Yeah,
It's not truth. You
yeah,
can't speak the truth.
no.
You are it. You are the truth already, but that's not a belief. You can't believe it. See, that's as seekers, we're trying to believe that.
Yeah, yeah.
So I
One,
just say that's already for me. You're already what you seek.
mhm.
It's just noticing that.
Yeah, what are we pointing to when we say already? You know, we hear it thousands of times when we're seeking, but one day you can just really hear it for the first time.
Hmm.
It's not, I must let go, I must accept. It's notice that everything is letting go already. Everything is accepted already. Even the story that I can't let go, or I don't
Hmm.
prefer this.
Yeah, because it's already starting out from an identity as if there's someone they're actually holding stuff.
Yeah.
That's the thing. As seekers, we start from a person. And then we say, okay, when this little s turns into a big S, then I'll be free. No, you're already not the little s, and you're not the little s is an idea. It's a character. It's a temporary appearance.
Mm, yeah. And what's funny is like when you have the recognition of emptiness and no one's here, there no one's anywhere. Everybody's just like the same as a tree. They're just doing according to their conditioning and nature and how the patterns play out. And you're like, "Oh, it's all this, and it's so automatic." And there's kind of like a wonk 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 because because you're like, well, that's not, that's great. It's beautiful, but it's not like a solution to my problems like I thought it was going to be. The shame or whatever issue you may have been going through, it's still there, you know. It's valid. Um, so it's like if you want a solution, it has to be within relativity, within practicality,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
So that's why I say we don't really want to wake up. We want to be happy. And that's completely valid.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and saying, there's no one here to feel that, or it doesn't matter because it's meaningless. You know, we can sort of try to comfort ourselves, and that's the spiritual bypassing with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't see any way around it. I see everybody falls into that trap. I fell into it, you fell into it, we all do. It's
Yeah.
sort of it's yeah, it's funny now, right? When you and I, but the thought that Leela and I both have was like, you know, oh God, those poor people that
Hmm.
spiritual bypass. So sad for them. So glad I don't do that. What
Yeah.
a crock of shit. know, so arrogant,
Yeah.
but that's how it goes. You don't see it till you see it.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of cute. It is arrogant, but it's very innocent. We just have to, so to say, this is a story, but we have to go through the process. We have to see for ourselves.
Mm,
And it's like the path of least resistance, water flowing. We have to see what we don't prefer to see what we do prefer. We have to have contrast in
mm,
life.
yeah.
It's there for a reason. Yeah.
Well, I'll just add to that um, here and I think there too, you and I talk about hair on fire. And so for me, the suffering, the feeling of being separate, let's just say that, being apart, being located somewhere or in the body, you could feel a sense of separation, was intolerable, like so painful that it couldn't be ignored. So that's all I cared about eventually. I'm like, I don't care about being right. I don't care about, I just need the separation. I know it's not real, but I don't know how it's not real.
Yeah. Yeah. We're drawn like a moth to a flame. We don't understand any of it, you know, and yet we're naturally drawn to, and we don't even know what it is we're drawn to, but it's just,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, well, okay. So now you opened up the door for the intuition, right? Because suddenly it's like you've been going to your mind. We spend so much time in our mind, we don't realize it. Like it's just such a habit that it's
Mm.
like you don't realize there's any other option available. So all the mind you do is chew. And we all have an intuition. Everybody has it. it's dormant until you begin to notice, oh, there's an intelligence here that's not
Mhm.
based on the world. It's not based on knowledge.
Yeah, because, we learn when we're little in order to be a good girl or boy, I have to follow the rules, and that takes thinking and deciding. Um, so and then we go to school and we learn and logic is placed on a pedestal. It turns into like the only way to have any power in this world. So it's precious to us and we're blinded by it. Like we always refer to that
Mhm.
in life. Like, how can I figure this out? And it is like a drug. It's comforting to believe that we can figure it out.
Yeah. And what can be noticed is the knowing, right? Because we have elementary school, then junior high school, then high school, or not these days it's middle school, but then college, university, PhD. You can keep, and well, it's endless. Knowledge is endless. The more you dig, the more you're going to find.
Hmm.
So what we're pointing at isn't a knowledge. It's not in something you're going to know. It's prior to that. It's before knowing.
Yeah, there's another way to inquire, and it has nothing to do with words. You know, it's just sort of being with the patterns of this reality in a way that's very intimate. Um, and it reveals itself to you with deep insights that, can seem like a glimpse, and we can also seem to forget and come back um and they it's almost like they slowly, gently sort of reveals to you over time more and more um,
Mm,
integration into like facing the fear that I can't figure this out, sort of easing into that, you know.
mhm. Yeah, and you may be disappointed. Let's talk about that, you know, right? Tim Kliss talks about crying for weeks, when he saw there was no Tim, in the way he thought there was. There can be disappointment. Like all of that work I did, I did. It's funny to me, but that's okay. There's space here for sadness
Yeah.
to arise.
It's
Um,
disappointing because we want something better. And if it's all this, then it's all equally this. So you're just like, what? You know?
yeah, yeah. It's so freeing though, because when it's all this, it just becomes lighter, you know? It's just so much lighter. It's just
Mhm.
not so, that would be the main, for me, the main takeaway was it just doesn't matter as much as we think it does. Like nothing really, that Queen song, nothing really matters.
Mhm.
He
Yeah.
says it. It's not like that's not, it can be taken depressing. Oh, nothing
Mhm.
really matters. How sad.
Yeah.
But here, it's really a celebration like the 4th of July. Like the fireworks are gone. But that's the show. Like the dancing of light and the colors and the audience, everyone in the crowd going, ooh, ah, that's it. That's it. So it's this moment is like the firework. This is the time, it's not saving. As a seeker, I was always kind of waiting, like holding back, you know. No,
Mm.
if you're going to enjoy yourself, there's no other time to do it than now.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels like, in a way, learning how to just be human, you know, like like you think you would have learned that when you were young, but
Mm-mm. No,
Like I've been trying to escape and avoid my whole life, you know.
well, that's it too, but we should talk about that too. The innocence of like the system, like society, the world.
Mm,
It is as it is. The world is as it is. It's set up the way it is. And it turns out it's actually not a problem. Like it seems like it's a problem. Like the world's fucked up. And in one sense, the world is fucked up. And that is a wake up. That's something you can notice. Like you realize you'll never get this situated. The world will never, ever, ever be perfect. Or if it is, just wait.
yeah, it's pretty disturbing from a certain point of view, but inherently it is meaningless.
Yes.
And that's not a negative meaningless, because that would be meaningful meaningless. But that's also not a place to conceptually land either, you
Yeah.
know, an attitude of meaninglessness. Meaning arises when it
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
And even though it's empty of meaning, it feels completely meaningful, you know.
Well, what's interesting is people generally um, who have seen this and who are saying it is completely meaningless, have like the most integrity. Like if they say they're going to be somewhere on time, they'll be there at that time or earlier. I tend to leave early for stuff because
Mm,
so it's not a denial.
mm-mm.
It's now you're finally free to play.
Yeah. It feels like honoring of the human experience, which is impersonal, but is personal. So it's completely
Yeah.
paradoxical.
Yeah.
Um, that's why I try to talk about it in a balanced way, so to say. Anything we say, the opposite can also be said to be true. It's just the nature of this paradox. Um, so there's no ground. You know, the truest thing I think that can be said is this is unknowable, you know. And that's not even true because that implies subject object, you know. So language and um, language is like art. All of these words like knowing and
Hmm.
clarity.
Yeah. Yeah, it's another trap. It's quite common actually, where seekers will fall in people who, say, well, who is there to know that? They get in this denial. That's that existential that,
Who is there to know that there's no one to know that?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't really hold up because when you're listening to like your favorite singer, like I've been going through a Beach Boys phase
Mhm.
where I've been listening to all the Beach Boy music. I'm not sitting there going, well, there's no Brian Wilson there, it's just an illusion. No, fucking enjoying Surfing USA. What a great song, I Get Around. All their hits, like there's so much joy when you can just enjoy stuff for the gift that it is.
No matter if you're completely immersed in the story or you're negating the whole thing and saying that there's nobody here and who is there to say that and it's all meaningless, it doesn't matter how you see it or what you say about it or believe. It
Mhm.
is this.
Yes. Wow.
So
Yes.
it's so free that nobody gets to be right. Nobody gets to be wrong, you know.
And it doesn't end anything. That's another myth, I guess, since we're so depression still free to arise,
Mhm.
sadness, all of it. It's
Mhm.
all welcome. It can come.
Yeah. And it is lighter when there's an allowance, you know.
Well, the battling, we don't realize that arguing with something keeps it around. It's
Yeah.
in the resistance. Yeah.
Because you're there's a giving it awareness and like Tim Cliff said, what you resist persists.
Yeah.
And that's
But
just
you
a
don't,
pattern that you can notice, you know.
yeah. Yeah. So noticing isn't adding fuel. When we resist, that energy is enlivening it. It's when you like you argue with a salesperson. They're not going to walk away
Mm.
because you're still standing there arguing with them. You guys are having an energetic exchange. But if you just say, no, thanks, I'm not interested, and shut the door, the matter's over. So sometimes we get engaged in our thoughts
Right. It's
without realizing it. You're just suddenly sucked in when you can begin to learn to just allow your thought. Just say what it says, but it doesn't mean you need to
right.
get involved.
Yeah, it's the difference in, claiming an ownership. When you believe something is yours, something must be done about it. You're responsible for it. I have to maintain it. I have to water it. I have to, um,
Water.
like if it's your bank account, you need to budget that, you need to pay your bills. But if it's somebody else's money, whether if it's a lot or not a lot, it doesn't matter because it says nothing about you. So that's the difference.
Yeah, it's lighter.
Yeah. And stickiness, see, that what you call identified self, that it was never a self, ever.
Mm,
Identification doesn't equal an entity.
mm,
So what it is a state, and
mm,
that state is always free to arise.
mm,
Don't even get to escape that
mm,
because there never was one. So it's
mm.
just a feeling of engagement again, or like being like, oh, I have to do something. And that's not a bad thing. Like we're animals. Sometimes we need to react to life. And we do. We will. There's nothing to stop that from happening.
Yeah.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, it's just, so much freedom to be able to, again, express how you truly feel and simultaneously give space for others to do the same.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no right or wrong way. And we have the capacity to be with that, and everything that brings up that's uncomfortable. I don't get to ever be right. I don't never get to win the game, but when you sensitively notice like, what is this? You know,
Mhm. Yeah,
it's
that's the big question. As Peter Brown said, that's the question.
yeah.
Not, you said about we don't get to win the right. Well, how many times have we won in life and it fades? You got what you wanted, it fades. You got some money, it faded.
Yeah.
You got a relationship that you thought you would make you happy forever, it faded. So what we begin to see, if we're sensitive, that everything we thought was going to make us permanently happy failed beautifully
Yeah.
and sometimes painfully.
Yeah.
But with the pain, I was also last night at the meeting, I was talking about when the caterpillar, it doesn't turn into a butterfly. It turns to fucking soup. It's gone. There's no trace of you left. So there's that space between when the caterpillar turns to goo and before the butterfly emerges from the goo. There's that void.
Hmm.
And that's a place that we're not used to resting there between, okay, I'm no longer a person. I see that, but there's still angst here. It's that period where just being silent, no one tells us this, but just being still and what's happening is all that stuff we push down. It's the beach balls. It's the Carl Jung. If you try to bypass the darkness, you bypass the gold.
Yeah. Like trying to hold a beach ball under the water.
Yeah, you can only do that for so long. So it turns out that silent, like when you lose all motivation, right? That we hear that people say, "Yeah, I don't feel like doing anything now."
Mm. Hmm.
It's not an accident. It's perfect. It's what's supposed to be. You're not supposed, it's a time for letting stuff bubble up that never could come up because we're always in our head.
Yeah, I mean, just to tell, I mean, we have to put it in a story, but it's like you recognize the emptiness and it is so everywhere. Like you're like, "Oh my gosh, that wasn't true. That I believe that and I believe that." And you just see the emptiness of everything, even that I am, you know. I'm the one doing this. I'm the owner of this. And we're sort of like in awe for a while of that, and it needs to process.
Hmm.
And all of the things that motivated us before, we see through that. We see through all of it. So we're kind of like unmoved by life.
Yeah.
And I think it's the birth of authenticity. It's sort of
Mm.
like asking yourself, like, well, what do I really want then? Because it does all come back down to preference, not what I've been conditioned, so to say, how to react. But since I see that it's all empty now, and life will go forward, it will continue to express. So it feels like an integration. And even emptiness is a belief, you know.
Mm. Yes. Yeah, as I say, so when you're first discovered non-duality, it happens, it's quite common, I think, where you go from identifying as a separate me, which feels very small and contracted, to, oh, I'm everything. I'm the emptiness. And it's just like a new identity.
Yeah.
And it can seem to work for a while. And
Yeah.
then suddenly there's like when you have a pebble in your shoe, a little rock in your shoe, like, something still don't feel right.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like now when something comes up that's intense and I feel, old triggers and stuff like that come up, I know something's percolating, It's giving birth to a new deepening or a new insight. I have the attitude that it's happening for me, not to me. It's
Mhm.
it's the opportunity. The process is the
Mhm.
destination.
Mhm.
We get to be these, characters and
Yeah.
we get to be.
And I just wanted to add that, again, sometimes it can be heard that, oh, it's so depressing when you say this is all meaningless. But think back when you were a kid. When we were kids playing, it was all made up. It was completely meaningless.
Yeah.
Didn't stop me from having a good time playing with my Hot Wheel cars and my.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is like. That is a perfect metaphor for, you know, a- awakening or whatever word you want to give it, becoming masterful at being human. It's just learning how to play, you know.
Yeah, and so what is there to play? Well, whatever's happening right in front of you, you
Yeah,
know?
of course we can break any pointer apart and there's no one to play and blah blah blah. And yeah, that's
Yeah.
all correct in looking at it that way, but subject object is kind of like what is happening. It's kind of like the point,
Hmm.
this experience.
Well, I'll share something that I noticed happened here. And like over time, something here I would say relaxed about the way people talk about this. Like what kind of clicked was when I was like, wait, we're all completely different. Like I could see that my inner world, nobody knew. Nobody could ever know your inner world. They just can't.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I realized then why would we expect their stories to be the same as mine? Because often, people will say, well, that's not how I see it, or I wouldn't do that,
Hmm.
as if everybody would be like them. And such delusion because everybody's unique. So everyone's going to handle and process every situation in their way. There may be some similarities, but we're all unique. And once you begin to see that, at least here, there was a big calming down. about whether they use God, whether they don't use God, whether they say me or I, or,
Mhm.
I was crying. It just didn't matter anymore.
Yeah. Everybody has their own language, way of speaking and style about this. Some people have these insights and they never think about it again. They feel nauseated when they hear messages like this.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
perfect.
we're like snowflakes, and there's infinite ways to point to this. This is always pointing to itself, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, so my suggestion is life is like a buffet. Um, take what you can use. And if it doesn't resonate, let's leave it.
Yeah, yeah. It's all about honoring preference and patterns and sort of learning how to be with this, so to say. And having a sense of humor because nothing you say is correct.
Well, so I also would add, if you can get a friend, a buddy, if you're fortunate enough to get someone like you and I have each other, that you can bounce this stuff off of and chat with and
Mhm.
clarify, and they'll serve as a mirror.
Yeah.
Um, they'll kind of keep you in line, if you get a little crazy,
Call
it's
you out on
really,
your bullshit.
yeah, yeah, that's priceless because you can't see it. You don't know when you're caught. So to have somebody lovingly just say,
Mhm.
well, you're like, ah, damn, got me again.
Yeah, yeah. And being open to being wrong is very
Yes.
powerful.
Oh man. Yeah, boy. Let's think about that.
Okay. All right. I guess we could say something for the end and the hour's almost.
Yeah, we did good.
Yeah, I think we did. We was on a roll.
Yeah. All right, why don't we end with I would say, like, just something to close on is that be sincere with your I don't know. Really mean it. I Because
Mm.
when you're lost, like if you ever been lost in a parking structure and you just can't find your car, like you looked everywhere and you like your car is gone. You just can't find it. That's true not knowing. And I think a lot of times you know, we don't really commit to saying, no, I really don't know.
Yeah.
And that's a great place to start.
It's it's counterintuitive. You would think it would be like the last thing you would want is to not understand, but really it's everything. It becomes your new base of reality, instead of the claiming and the owning, it's wow, what is this? And there's never an answer. It Yeah.
Yeah, and you can notice life has its own natural intelligence. And so you don't need to know. It
No.
it knows how to take the key and put it in the front door when you enter the house. That's life doing that. That's not you.
Yeah. It knows when to blink, when to laugh. It doesn't need to know why it's laughing, you know.
Beautiful.
That's perfect. Well, thank you,
Way.
Michael.
Thank you so much for having me, Leela. Honored.
Oh, thank you for coming on, Michael.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye bye.